Olá, bem-vindos à segunda parte da tarde na Track 2 no WordCamp Lisboa 2025. Eu vou mudar para inglês porque esta talk é em inglês, mas gostaria de falar em português primeiro. So, the WooCommerce block-based checkout in the works for 4 years now is designed to streamline the purchase flow and give shoppers fewer reasons to abandon their carts, improving conversion, providing instant field validation, new options for local pickup, and overall better experience for the end customer. Nadir used to be a contributor in Gutenberg and a WooCommerce freelance developer. He's now an automatic software engineer working on WooCommerce News Checkout since day one, right? In this session, he will tell us about all the features and improvements to the block checkout and how they compare to the shortcode one as of today, as well as upcoming planned features. So if you are a WooCommerce developer and struggle with development for this new experience, you're in the right place. Original from Oran, living in Barcelona, now speaking in Lisbon, Nadir Seguir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marco. So, hello everyone, my name is Nadir, and today talk is what Marco said, is going to be about checkout block, which is something we have been building for the past 5 years. Development started around November 2019 and technically released in 2020, but have been continuously updating it and developing it ever since. And yeah, so that's going to be the talk. So, well, to where should I point? Okay, so this is me. My name is Nadir. I'm from Oran, Algeria. I moved into Barcelona some years ago with my wife. I've been software engineer in checkout for the past 5 years. Before that, I was a freelancer and I was mainly building WooCommerce website using React. So you can find me on Twitter or X, and you can see me mostly talking about checkout and Story API and, giving you all the updates there. So basically, what we're going to talk about today is 3 points. We're going to talk about the updated design for the new checkout. So what exactly did we change? What are the new things there? We're going to talk about the intentional extensibility approach we are taking into the new checkout, which for a lot of developers, it's been a bit of a controversial thing, and we believe it's fundamentally the best option for checkout. And then at the third point, the last one, we're going to talk about the built-in features, which is when you have a checkout team, you basically not going to build checkout and leave it. You're going to build into a thing that makes the experience better. This recently have been more popular in WooCommerce as in built-in core features, and we have been trying to push to a more mature checkout product. So I'm going to start basically with the most important part, which is the numbers. So why is checkout block better? So we have the exact numbers. So checkout block better converts 65% higher on desktop, meaning that for checkout conversion, checkout block is 65% better than the old checkout. So it means every time, how we measure this is basically the checkout conversion. So how many people arrive at checkout versus how many people places the order. Checkout block is 65% better on desktop, 27% better on mobile. We're working on that, but it's still 27% better. So like blended wise, it's like 36% better. So by not using checkout block, you're basically leaving 36% more money from your store. And stores that use the checkout block have 15% higher average order value. So this data, all of this information are shared with us from stores that would share their anonymized store information with WooCommerce. And we take this anonymized information and we conclude this. So the next step. So basically, how do we get checkout that converts 65% better? So we get that by 3 things. First of all, we get by updated design. So we're going to take a look at how the old checkout looks like. So the old checkout, this is if you ever used WooCommerce, if you ever landed on some checkout in WooCommerce, this is the old checkout. It's a bit confusing. It was built around 2010, 2011, 2012, and basically stayed the same. It didn't have any new features. So you got like the coupon, you got the abuse from plugins where they would plug in their UI wherever they want. You get a bit of a confusing form flow, which like you're gonna fill your form like this, and then you're gonna pick up shipping from here, payment from here, place order from there. It's a bit of confusing flow. The design is outdated. It's been there to 2011, 2012. You can see the select is a bit weird. The inputs are weird. The layout is a bit very tabular. It's like very table-like. And it's a bit fragile. So this is one of the biggest problems we have, is that because of the way it extends, there is nothing really formalized about it. So it tends to be like whatever plugins comes in, put their UI, put their way of doing things, and then if you install 3-4 plugins into your WooCommerce checkout, you just end up with a bit of a spaghetti UI, which end up hurting the customer. It's also a bigger problem for payment gateway, mostly because everyone is trying to convert customer to their payment methods. So you see like competition between payment methods, basically like you can see Google Pay there. Sometimes you see like Klarna taking over the checkout, PayPal doing something different. So it's a bit of a fragile experience. And how we compare it to the new checkout. So this is the new checkout. It's been iterated on for a bit of time now. So it's a bit of a fully retake on what checkout is. We have updated the design from scratch. We started like from a slant board and see like what we can do. So it was completely updated. We have better theme integration. This is one of the problems we had as well, is that like, you know, you have your checkout, you have your store design, but the checkout looks out of place. So the new checkout also works very well with the existing themes and is a bit modular. So this is, I would say, something that's been also controversial, is that the checkout is built on Gutenberg, which I believe gives you the best experience as a merchant, because it is modular. You can insert content via Gutenberg UI. You can modify basically like all of this text here is modified via the system. You can insert new blocks. You can insert other stuff. So this is where we believe the checkout benefit most. So I'm going to take a look now at basically the last point is that like, yeah, it follows UX by standard. So basically the previous checkout was built by one designer and then moved on. The new checkout, we have a dedicated full-time designer for that. We have a dedicated product manager for that. And we are the engineer working on that. Basically, what we do is that we do periodic reviews for UX standards. We do like UX. We get external people to review it for us. We always keep updates from the customer, from the merchant. We conduct interviews with developers, with merchants to understand their problem. They're just continuously like updated. So I don't know, like if you are in the design world, but like there is like the Baymard UX institution. They do huge research overall the e-commerce experiences, and we just distill that information and try to continuously update the checkout. So for example, this iteration, I would say it's probably the 4th or the 5th, and we still have another one in the go for the next 3 or 4 months where we update it even further things. So overall, what did we update? So we have address cards, so better address management. We have a single page with step design, so better both words. We have improved account creation. We have improved coupon management. We have separated email field from other fields. We have a better design for payments. We have a first class saved cards, and we have a logical design flow for the form. You get like a single form, you move along, and then you place your order. That's what we think makes a good UI. So I'm going to go over each one individually right now. So address step. If you use the old checkout, it's always there. It's a bit confusing. It's inconsistent. The new one, basically, we have, if you are already a logged in customer, you get your card. It reduces the height of checkout. It makes it faster. It adds less cognitive load for the end customer. We also moved shipping to be before the billing address, because it matches our research that shipping is what the customer cares about. Billing, sometimes relevant, sometimes not. So we move shipping first. we have now a logical single axis design. So you get basically, this is the checkout, this is an auxiliary for checkout. It's sticky on mobile, it's gonna be on the top, it's gonna follow you around, but like the checkout is now logical. You land on checkout, you use an express payment button like Apple Pay or Google Pay, or like you fill up your checkout and then you place the order at the end. So this is when we say like the flow of checkout is more logical, it's a single column. We optimized the mobile design. We are working on that continuously. So what we did is basically we reduced the summary size. We're trying to remove as much fluff as possible from the checkout to make it shorter, to make it fast. And this is an area that we are continuously working on. As of 2 weeks ago, our designer gave us even an updated design for checkout that we are incorporating and going to be testing, so it makes the flow even faster. Another part between the old checkout and new, which actually at this time of age feels like should be there, is updated form management and client-side validation. The old checkout, you have to fill up your information, send it to the server, wait for a response, get an error. Right now, everything is in line. You have a wrong postcode, you're gonna get an error, you got a phone, the phone number is gonna be soon, the email is validated client side, everything is on the client. So basically these are the main design points we did for the new checkout. And a very common question we have is that, why didn't you just update the existing checkout design? And for that, I believe the design alone is not the answer. And another part of the new checkout is the intentional extensibility. When I say intentional extensibility, I'm mostly talking about the fact that we moved away from hooks and filters everywhere that would do very broad things to a dedicated set of APIs that does the main things while also keeping some possibility to insert other content with actions and filters. But like what we consider intentional extensibility is basically, previously, as an example, express payment buttons was something you just do with an action, you just insert your UI. So if you install 2 or 3 plugins, you install PayPal and Stripe, you get buttons all over the place, nothing is consistent. For the new system, everything is consistent, it goes via the same API, we surface options to the merchant, so basically they can customize all of the buttons together, they show up in the same place, we decide when to show them, when to hide them, we're also gonna show them at the place order button. So this is one of the benefits of having a single API that is intentional and is dedicated to that same thing. Another thing is saved cards. This previously for payment methods was part of the payment method UI. So in the old checkout, you have like to select cards and then you see your saved cards. Right now, what we did is that we pulled out the saved cards away from and made it like a first class API. This also like allow us to, for example, decide like to hide this section if we want, or like surface this in a different place, because now we have those intentional APIs. Another thing we recently also released is built-in custom fields. So previously, like you would add custom fields however you want. It was a bit random. There were some filters. Sometimes they would work, sometimes they would break the backend. Right now, we built like a fully built-in intentional API for them, where you, with simple PHP lines, you just register a new field. It just shows up here with validation. Gets under the server, shows an email, shows it everywhere. This is what we consider like a first-class API, where we handle everything and the developer just do the business logic part. They don't have to do the business logic part and also a lot of stuff, and like making sure their code is always up to date. And because of the modular system, the merchant get like a full list. Right now, you can see like there's a lot of logs there, meaning you cannot remove them or delete them. We're working on deciding which one, but you can also like, move content around, add new blocks, add third-party blocks, and they will just work within the new system. If there is a bug, if there is something happening, it does not break your whole checkout. Everything is encapsulated and its own place. Another thing we are working on is, for example, a very common basic checkout feature is just address autocomplete. So previously, you would need to install a plugin that does that. They will bring their own UI, they would bring their own interaction. Sometimes it would look out of place for the checkout. So basically, we're just building that directly into checkout. Plugins can just bring in their business logic, which is Google Maps part or like the address fetching part, and we handle the UI for them, and it's also extensible, modifiable. So basically, those are the main APIs we have. We also have more to come, but this is how we see that like we try to gather as much feedback as possible. We figure out like what is an API that would benefit from us owning the UI and the interaction and giving the bottom layer to the developers. But the third part of what makes a good checkout is that it has all of the batteries included. You don't just get a bare bone checkout and then you have to shop around for different plugins, pay different subscription here and there just to get basic functionality. We believe that basic functionality should be included in the box and that plugin developers should aspire like to unlock things that we should not be doing, like local integrations, local shipping methods, advanced use cases, but we should be providing all the basic stuff. And so, for example, what we have right now is passwordless account creation. This previously was not possible. In checkout, you have to create an account, you have to add a password. The simple option we added is just you don't need a password to create an account. And this is like a simple feature we have. Another thing is that we move checkout creation to be post-checkout. So basically, you don't have to add friction to the customer during checkout to create an account. You can just do that post-checkout and it would link them back, which works just fine. Another thing we added is better local pickup. This is something we still continuously work on. Basically, is that like instead of having a mesh of a mix between local pickups and regular shipping methods, we just separated them conceptually. We made local pickup a first level thing. It has pickup locations, and we're working on making it more extensible. So, for example, I know like in Portugal, a very common way to deliver things is that to lockers and pickup points. And we are working on how do we make the current UI easy to work with this kind of plugins as well. So this is like a common thing with it. Another thing is that like address autocomplete, which I talked about before, is also something we are building and we are shipping with WooCommerce. So if you are like a WooCommerce merchant that use some of automatic services, which is going to be payment, hosting, shipping, something like that, we're going to, for example, give you address autocomplete for free. So it just works, you just install it and it just works for you. You don't have to go create an account with Google Maps. You don't have to have an API key, it just works for you. And it's also extensible, so you can bring your own provider if you don't trust Google Maps or something like that. We're also adding order confirmation to we're adding a map to the order confirmation page. So basically, like, have you seen like when you ever shop in a Shopify website, you place the order, you see the map where like your order is going right now or where it's right now. So this is also something we're gonna have built in. No API keys, nothing, just install it, it just works for you. And one of the last things is also we're adding built-in custom field management. Right now, a very common problem that merchants have is wanting to add a field. So basically, we did that on an API level. Now we're gonna add this to the UI. So you just go into your Gutenberg page, pick a place, add a field, modify the information, move it around. It's gonna take some time for us to get this correctly, but we're trying to do it right now. If you really need it right now, Marco has a good plugin for that. And we're gonna, sorry, but we're gonna have to upshore you from that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, I am here.
Thank you, Nadir. So, anyone has any question? Hello?
What?
Why not sooner? Why it takes so long to create this based on Gutenberg? That's your question?
I mean, we started working on this 5 years ago. We released it 4 years ago. What took us so long is the extensibility. So we spent a lot of time going ourselves and integrating a lot of plugins into the new checkout, talking to developers, writing tutorials, though we do a very bad job of that right now, adding new extensibility APIs, but being more intentional, like asking people to use it. It's been a very long uphill battle because it's a whole new experience, and checkout is very critical, so people don't want to switch. Developers don't want to really integrate with something they're not sure has the market adoptions, and new merchants don't want to use something that doesn't work with their plugin. So it was like a bit of a chicken and egg, where like we encourage developers to integrate, and we encourage people, merchant, to talk to the plugin developer to integrate, but it's a very slow part. So in the meantime, we've also been building and redoing stuff in checkout.
Any more questions? Like an Algerian recipe, something like that? No? No? Okay, so I have questions.
Okay.
So do you have any numbers on the adoption of the new checkout experience? And the second question, what's the most common issues or questions developers or store owners report or question you about? Well, not you, Nadir, but...
Yeah, okay, so for the adoption numbers, I'm not sure I can share a lot, but I would say it is growing. I think the last time we checked in, it was for new stores, it was 60%. So when a new store created, 60% of them stayed with the new checkout, 40% of them revert to the old checkout for some reason. For the existing stores, we are looking around 20%, and it's an uphill battle to work with plugin developers and modify their custom code that exists already, like for the new one. For the most common questions we got, it's the most biggest question is, I want to remove the billing form. This is sort of a very common question we got. Another one is that I want more tutorials and better documentation. We're working on documentation tutorials. We understand that switching to React and JavaScript is such an uphill battle to do. We saw that Gutenberg ran into the same problem as well, and we are working on fixing that. And for removing billing fields is something that we are actually like working on right now as well.
I think we have one more question at least.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for the great talk.
You're welcome.
The address autocomplete will be an extension or built-in?
It's gonna be built in, and it's just gonna, so address autocomplete is two things here. Is the integration API we're gonna have. It's gonna be built in, and it's also gonna be the one we provide for free. It's gonna be coming from one of our major plugins, so WooCommerce Payments, WooCommerce Shipping, WordPress.com hosting, stuff like that. But you can build your own integration if you want.
And it will do postcode validation, or if you...
No, postcode validation already exists right now.
Okay.
So, and it will not do address validation. So if you're talking about like validating the address, we're not gonna, we are allowing that, but we're not gonna do it right now. We just, because it's a higher cost API, so we just consider how we're gonna roll it in, but address autocomplete is what we consider like an easy win to do right now.
So just to be clear, this autocomplete thing will be free for shop owners using automatic/WooCommerce.com services like WooPayments, WooShipping,
WordPress.com hosting,
stuff like that. So if I self-host and I'm not using any of these, I do not have access to address autocomplete.
You don't get it for free. You don't get it for free, but you can, with a very little code and your own API key, you can get it the same.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, you can. But like for us, it's configuration free for the merchant. You're already merchant for us. You get it for free. You don't know. No
Makes
configuration.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Any more questions? So, thank you again for accepting the invitation.